Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. Welcome, everybody, and boy, oh boy, are we going to create the adventure of a lifetime today.
Thank you.
We're going to do a, what would be called, let's see, it's a world premiere video.
Oh.
And it is going to be awesome. We've got a wonderful guest with us, but before we go there, I wanted to do this. The other day, somebody asked me, they said, why do you do this? Why do you do the media thing and the radio thing? And what's it all about? What do you get out of it? Because they asked me if I was making a tremendous amount of money, and I said no. But that's not the point. And so I said, here's the point. Every person who listens to this show, number one, has become a friend. Number two, it's like they and I've gone to a coffee shop, and you and I have gone to a coffee shop, and we're sitting there having a conversation, just you and me. Media like this is very, very personal. It's not a big ballroom, or it's between you and me, and we are here to just talk and exchange ideas. And so what I then do is I bring people into the conversation who have got something valuable to contribute to all of us, to the world, to each other. And you have the opportunity, just you and me, to talk to this individual. I work really hard to make sure that the questions I ask are things that you would ask if you were sitting at that table. And so that's really why I do this, because it's so personal. All the way back to one time when I was told that a lady was with Alzheimer's disease and was fairly far along. Listen to the show because I could still reach her. That is the nature of what it is that I do and why I do this. And this is why I bring some of the most incredible people I can find on the planet to come and talk to us to make a difference in the world. One of them is with us again today. She's been on the show before, but she's remarkable in who she who she is, and she's remarkable in who she are. I tell you what. Andrea Wehlann is with us, and she's a yoga instructor. She's also a Reiki instructor and teacher. She has Yoga Moon yoga in
Ganga Moon Yoga.
Good Lord.
Reiki Master. This is a play on this spirit, though. This is a playful energy that's with us, which is so nice because it touches a lot of people's hearts.
It is really, really important. And but you get where I'm coming from when I say that it's just you and me and the listener that is participating with us, and they're thinking along with us. They're asking questions in their mind, and our job is to try and fulfill the requests of those questions as best we can so that we can give them the information that they need to make decisions within their own life to grow and to do better and to love and to be kind and to do all those things. Does that make any sense to you at all?
It makes a lot of sense to me. It's a safe space. It's a container. It's a safe container to have an open and honest conversation. And if we are going to change it all, then we have to acknowledge and see things for exactly what they are or where we are in order to be able to make changes in our lives.
And in the lives of the people that surround us. Because it's really important.
And I think there's only one of us here, and I think that it starts from within. And Yeah, it's a tragedy of life. I learned, like, you see people and you want to help them, but helping someone else doesn't really work that way. It actually, what I've learned is that it helps from you being your best light and the brightest that you can be yourself, and that's how other people get lit.
Yes, you're exactly spot on correct.
But that's a little bit sad. But that's a little bit sad because when you learn something and you see someone else go through it, the heart is so beautiful because it wants to help the other person, but it's not helping when you're not your absolute best self. It really isn't.
Well, doesn't it come down to or back to the fact that we're all here for a purpose that we determined before we even got here. And that purpose may be to go through some periods of your life with addiction or other issues, homelessness, other things that may be part of your learning experience while you're here. And if you rob people of that, you're robbing them of the experience that they're working to create. Does that make sense at all?
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I learned from my book, my very first book I published, No Matter How Dark the Stain, is that those, well, one, I believe from my studies in metaphysics, I've broken everything down into really, really simple. And I believe that everything is love. So I think that we came here for love. And what I learned through No Matter How Dark the Stain, my first book, is that the dark parts of your life and the light part are both love. So it's not just experiencing love in that it's all of the positive emotions, positive values. It's also the addictions, the hurt, the heartbreak. It's everything is love.
And the interesting thing about what you're saying is that when we come here, we come from a place of pure love. But when we come here, it ain't so loving and it ain't the same thing as where we come from. And so it can be a
Mm,
very difficult grounding experience to be here because what we might have expected it to be, it's not
mm,
really so true. And then we were going to talk about this because creating inner calm amongst chaos, which I really love the way that you put that,
mhm.
because chaos is, well, let's this past weekend
Yep.
was full of chaos and the attempted assassination and the
Mhm.
and the division and everybody. It was really it's a really hard time to be here and to be calm. And and it's like my favorite new singer. She's not that new. Taylor Swift. Do you know who Taylor Swift is?
Of course I do. I am on planet Earth most of the time.
Well, and she has a song, "Why Don't You Calm Down?" I just love the premise of that song. Just calm down. It's going to be okay. But
Mm,
sometimes it requires us to have some help to make it calm and to understand how to do that. And
mm,
that is what you have spent a majority of your life doing after the issues that you
mhm,
had growing up as a kid, and there were many.
mhm,
And I don't particularly feel the need to bring those up because it's not necessary for this
mhm,
conversation.
mhm,
Be because you are a shining light. And as I've gotten to know you, I've gotten to know that you are just a remarkable human being, a remarkable person. As a matter of fact, we had problems getting the show on the air because of your microphone not working properly and stuff, but you still kept a very positive, shiny attitude towards it all. And it was perfectly fine. And so
mm.
that is the essence of living your best life, isn't it?
I think so. I also teach my yoga students that we're already here. There's nowhere to get to. We're already here. And so I don't know if I believe in a over there and here and we got from here. I really just sitting here now just think it's just one thing. It's just love.
I know, I agree. Now, continue with what you were saying about that. What part of what I was saying do you disagree with?
Well, I don't disagree because um especially if you study Catholicism, you like heaven is a place that you get to. And then I heard this again in my meditation trainings. It's like transcendental meditation. So a lot of people, and my training for a lot of years was also you meditate to get somewhere else, to a more peaceful place. And so I thought you did yoga for a lot of years when I was practicing yoga, and I've been at it since 1999. So I thought you did yoga, and then you get to samadhi, which is the end result, which is, you get to this peaceful place. But I really now have come to learn that everything is moving and flowing. You don't quite get there, and something's always arising. There's no holes in the ocean. It's all just kind of an ebb and a flow, and there's nowhere to get to because we're already here. And so I love mindfulness meditation, like the Zen Buddhist techniques I learned, because it's meditation of just right where you are. What do you hear right now? What are the sounds? It's not going into a quiet room and finding peace. It's real easy to find peace in a quiet room with no people in it. But my Zen Buddhist teacher took us on Spadina Avenue in Toronto, which is similar to Times Square, New York. Not similar, but noise-wise, very loud. And he would open the windows when we were all trying to meditate, because he taught us if you're trying to just get quiet in a peaceful place, you're going to lose it. You're going to miss it.
That's the easy part. It's getting quiet in a noisy place. That's the hard part.
Right? Life's not going to be quiet when you need to be peaceful. You need to find peace and calm at any time during the day and night. And that power is inside all of us. It takes a little bit of practice, but what doesn't? And isn't it worth it? Because the end result is you, only calm. And how amazing is that?
Exactly. I was talking with my friend Dana. We were interviewing Neil Donald Walsh, and she said, it's important for us to work and to strengthen our heart muscle. She wasn't talking about it from the standpoint of the heart itself, the muscle, but the ability to use your heart as an extension of who you really are. And Neil Donald said, that's a great book title. So be looking for that. It may be coming.
It's so true. The ego speaks first and loudest. And underneath that is the quiet voice of the heart. So sometimes you'll notice if you respond to somebody, it might be harsh really quick, but that's our reactive nature. But underneath that is a creative side, and it's within us, but it's cultivating that, because there are the seeds of compassion, kindness, generosity inside of us. But it's much easier to be short with someone. It's much faster, or the pattern's been more played out. But it is hard to be calm. It is hard. I will never send a text from my phone that's rude or nasty. It takes practice, but now it's just so easy for me. If I feel that way, I'm not near my phone. But to not do that, to see something and have it spark something within you that makes you want to act in that way, it's hard to break it. But once you do, it's so amazing. You change your whole vibration, your cellular patterns, your generational patterns can be broken. And this isn't from anything outside, but there's a kingdom within us, and there's greatness within us, and we can all do these things.
Exactly. And which is just perfect. I want to remind everybody that near the end of this show, which is about, if we got about 45 minutes left or so, we're going to do a world premiere video that is just amazing. And I hope everybody stays for that, because it's brand new. It has been birthed today. And it really, and I previewed it with Andrea, and she thought it was okay. So I thought, well, we'll just, since it's okay, we'll kind of play it and see.
So, yeah. Yes, you have to stick. You have to stick around, and you have to see this. I could go on, but I won't. But it's amazing.
Well, we can do that in a little bit, but I really wanted to, first of all, thank you for being here, and thank you for working through the technical issues that we had. Because
so sorry.
No, don't be. It is so vital that there are people like you that can help others calm down and relax and to get through the chaos and the problems. I mean, we had the thing happen over the weekend, and then we've got the Republican convention, and they're arguing one thing, and then you got the Democrat, and they're arguing another thing, and there's just a lot of chaos floating around. How do you help your clients, your pupils, the people that you work with? How do you help them calm down and to really calm themselves amidst the chaos? By the way, that should be a book title, by the way.
That is my book title.
I knew that.
So, did you know? So my second book is Deeper Days, and it is 365 yoga inspirations for inner calm amidst chaos.
Well, but that's the little print. I want it to be in the big print.
Yeah. It's one of my hashtags, inner calm amidst chaos. Let me ask you this question, let me ask you this. When has the outside world not been chaotic? Yeah. And then think of like your grandparents' generation, like your parents' generation. Did they have it easy? And then the grandparents' generation, the Great Depression. Like, when has the outside world ever been not chaotic? It's all chaos. Everything on the outside is chaos. It is.
And it's a matter of degree. I mean, it used to be a bit more chaotic than it is now, maybe, at least to the degree of physical violence and that sort of thing. But it's still, this is designed. I think the earth is kind of designed for this, to be chaotic, so that we can work through it. What do you think?
Yeah. And I don't think we're separate from the earth. That would be just like saying the sunbeams are separate from the sun. And this is yoga, that we need to lose that duality, that we are separate. It is the greatest illusion, is that we are separate from everything else. We are not. Just as the outside is chaos, we are chaos. There's capacities for chaos inside of us. You and I could both freak out right now if we wanted to. We have that capacity. But really getting to know yourself is knowing. One of my studies taught me there's a Hitler inside you, and like the angel side. I forget the name of what they use for that side. And it's about getting to know both, that you'll be able to find this middle path. And yoga also teaches about a middle path. But to find calm, you need to know who you are in, like, how far would you go? How far into rage would you go? How much hate do you have? And what are your capabilities in that moment? But also, how deep is your love? How compassionate are you towards other people? Where's the poetic side? Do you have one? We have to get to know ourselves, our connection to our heart center. That is the key to feeling the intricacy and to knowing that we're specks of stardust here. It's like a loop that keeps us in the flow of life, like the stars in the sky, the sun and the moon, the ocean. All of these things are moving, and so are we. Every moment. And we're only in our chairs right now because of gravity. We are so much more than we can think we are. And we need to get in touch with that side of ourselves. We need to discover our shadow self, which is how far, where's your hatred and what is the extent of it? You have to know these things. Because what if you're in a situation and you don't know that about yourself? Then where can you go? To jail for the rest of your life? We can do better than that. We can do better than that now. I understand that that's the way things were, but we can do better now. Our consciousness is lifted. We can grasp concepts now from the internet, from the information age. Like, we have learned, we have grown. We know that we are part of something else. And it's time for us all to kind of rise up to our full capacity and to know that we are doing nobody any favors by playing small. That's why helping someone, like we talked about in the beginning, is not really helping. Because if I could be doing what the divine is whispering inside me or listening to my inner intelligence, but I feel like I can help, someone over here just because of like this old feeling I had, and that felt good when I brought them cookies when they were hungry. Like, that's not really helping them, like coming from that kind of low vibration in myself. It would help them more to see me shine my bright light, and they go, oh shit, I can do that too. Yes, you can do that too. Yes, because I'm just as broken as you. We're
And
all broken. Yeah,
but
we're all broken, but that's where the light comes in.
but we're all broken, but we're all magnificent at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're both the all the negative traits. We are. All the positive traits. We are. In Zen, they say there's 72 seeds within us. Anger, greed, fear, love, joy, compassion, 72. I won't list them all because I can't. But we're all of them. So it's a matter of bringing awareness into what seed am I watering here? Okay, there's a situation at work. That's awful. Okay, but I have my kids at home. What seeds in each moment are you watering? You need to know that. You need to know what nourishes you, how you feel in each moment, so that you can pick how you want to feel, who you want to be in the world. We have this option now. When we were growing up, we didn't really have that consciousness, but we have it now.
You know, it's interesting. I had a food and beverage, or a HR director one time that said something that was just really brilliant that I had never even considered. And have you heard the expression, the grass is greener on the other side of the fence? And
Oh,
the
I
idea
played with
being,
that a few times.
yeah,
Yeah.
the idea being that the grass, in your opinion, is always greener when it's on somebody else's yard or whatever. And he said, no, that's fundamentally incorrect. The grass is greenest where you water it.
Mhm. Yeah, so I thought I could only find peace if I joined the Peace Corps after high school and did all these things. So I spent a lot of my life traveling and running from here to there and here to there, only to find out it was within me all along. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you know what? You would not have discovered that had you not done that.
Right. Mm-hmm. But who would I be? Who would I be if I knew that now and then built on top of that, which is why I come on shows like this.
Yeah, absolutely. But, and by the way, we need to take a quick break. But when we come back, I'm going to ask her, because this is a really good topic for us to be talking about before we play the world premiere of the video that we're going to play.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the interesting thing is, you are the sum total of all of your experiences, of which, in my opinion, if you did not have those, you could not be the wonderful lady that you are standing or sitting there as
Absolutely.
being today,
Absolutely.
because of those experiences taught
Mhm.
you what you needed to do. And I believe
Yeah.
they were divinely inspired. Let's
Yeah.
see if you agree with me when we come back. We'll be right back.
They have your eyes. They have your ears. They have your smile. Now all they need is a little more of your time. Make a difference in your child's life, because anyone can be a father. It takes time to be a dad.
Mhm.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. We've got a great guest. Andrea Wehlann is here, and we've got a world premiere coming up in a little bit, so you need to stay tuned for that. But I wanted to ask her, do you think that I'm correct when I say that the experiences that we have become the sum total of who we are, so that we can become who we really are? And without those experiences, and some of those, and okay, I get it, some of them are very horrific, and I wish that those didn't happen to people, but they're still part of our journey here, so that we can get through them, understand our greatness, and to become and to have the best adventure-filled life we can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I spent a lot of time writing poems about how thankful I am for all of the things that happened to me. And I listed them one by one by one by one. I'm grateful for all of it, because I wouldn't be sitting here today. If anything were different, I wouldn't be here today. And I'm really proud of who I am, of where I've come from, and how far I've climbed, and that I never gave up, and that I trusted the voice within. And this is the message. I'm sitting here so that other people can hear that. The light parts and the dark parts of your life are both love. And you are not separate. You are not alone. There's greatness within you. We're all destiny. We're all destiny.
Why don't we believe that?
The stories in our mind need to change. We are constantly telling ourselves stories. We're not taught how our mind works, so we don't know how to get our mind on our side, and we need to figure that out. We need to understand that there's resistance. Every time you try and take a step forward, there's resistance. When the pilots go up to fight battles in the planes, they go through all the possible things that can go wrong before they go up. So when it happens, they're prepared. We need to do this preparation. There's so much value in preparation for things. And we need to do this. We need to understand how our mind works. We need to understand that we don't keep thinking about something because it's really traumatic. We keep thinking about it because the thinking part is on the left side of our mind. The right side is creative. So it's quick, fast, easy, and fun. We need to understand the differences. We need to understand that resistance is like a mini tugboat on the rapids. If you say you want to lose weight, just for an easy example, very common, and you start pedaling in that direction and dieting and doing all the things, you need to understand that there's people in the back of your boat going the other direction. And so how do you work with that? Instead of just letting it drag you down and falling back into the old patterns, we need to understand that we're creatures of habit and that we're creating scars. In yoga, it's called samskaras. Whenever we repeat the same pattern, we deepen the groove. We need to learn the tools to loosen those grooves, to climb out of those steps a little bit, because we can reach our greatness, but we're not taught these things so young, right? We didn't know this, but now we do.
Some people, because of where they come from and what their inherent belief is, they have trouble getting through it, even through it as adults. Which is why one of the things that we talk about is understanding your greatness and discovering who you really are and why you're really here. Because
and it's all terrible. It's all terrible until you see the light. Every yoga pose is so freaking hard until you do it. Everyone,
yeah.
It's all impossible until you do it. Yeah. And I had every reason to, and I was left for dead on a curb, just one story. And I had every reason to not get up. But that's not like, you just, if you can't run, you walk. And if you can't walk, you crawl. You just don't give up. You just keep moving and keep swimming, like Finding Nemo. Keep swimming.
And unfortunately, there are people who do just give up. And I want to put this out here just because. If you are somebody that is going through a really tough time and you're listening to this and you're saying, it's all wonderful and great, and I'm glad things are working out for you guys, but for me, it's just not, and I'm not doing well, there's a national hotline that I want to mention, which is 988. It's a crisis hotline. Call that. If you feel like you have no options, call that. Or call Andrea. And have a conversation with her, because she's been through the mill, and she's come through the other side. You're an adorable person. You really are a positive, shining light, and people would not understand where you've been.
No, and people don't. They'll look at me from the outside and make a judgment. And when I open my mouth and tell my story, they're just beside themselves, like, what? Yeah, I've made myself who I am, and I'm only speaking because I know what all of these situations feel like, and I'm just blessed that I had physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, rape, sexual assault, miscarriages, losing a son, planning a funeral for my baby, divorce. I know what these things feel like. If you have something else that's not on that list, let me know. But I really had everything, and it's extraordinary. And so please, if just believe me when I tell you that it doesn't matter where you are, there's still one thing you can do. If you can find your breath, just close your eyes and feel your breath in your body. That's the start. Because tomorrow you might be able to feel 2 breaths, or maybe in a week, you might feel 2 breaths. And then there's a little space there from whatever else was going on. And in that moment, it just takes one instant that you can heal, because the body is always in the present moment. The body's always constantly healing. It's homeostasis. It's nature. Just like the acorn is always growing into the oak tree. It doesn't grow into the oak tree, then turn mango. No, we're always growing in the direction of God, of nature, of the universe. And you can always pick up and go on that path. Yoga, finding your breath, is creating a space within you where that natural stillness, love, universe can be felt. And if you have that for one moment even, it builds on top of each other. If you go to the gym, think of this like doing one bicep curl. You do one. It doesn't change your muscle and you don't get all buff and be the workout guy on stage, right? But if you do that once and you go back and you do it again, it's muscle memory and it stays, and all of a sudden you have a nice bicep. This is the same thing. Being spiritual and knowing yourself and who you are is no different than anything else in your life. And hopefully I'm not saying anything new to everybody, but hopefully my words or my story and your show and the video we're about to see, I think there's burning embers inside all of our soul, and they get dull with the old stories that we don't know how to change, or that we don't see on the shows we watch, or in the mall, or swiping or scrolling. And in Canada, every corner is a pot store, so it's harder to see. But there's burning embers inside all of us. And conversations like this and the video we're going to watch at the end, the premiere, it's going to blow oxygen onto those embers that are inside all of us. And there's a light inside all of us, and it's dying to burn. There's a fire inside all of us.
There is. And by the way, we need to take a station break, but I want you to take us out with the arr. Do that again. That was pretty good. I really didn't think you did. Andrea Wehlann is our guest, and we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. You know, that particular commercial, I play it at the bottom of every hour along with the station break, because Covenant House is really working hard to change the planet and to change some of the things that are going on with us, like 4 million kids that are homeless and stuff in the greatest country in the world, which should not be allowed. And so that contributes to the chaos of what we find here, and makes it really as more difficult for us to be able to look at the light and to rest in the light, rather than what's going on and the problems of this and the problems of that, and oh Lord, there's nothing you can do about some of that, but you can also give and stuff. So Andrea Wehlann is our guest. She is Ganga Moon Yoga. I said it right this time. I'm so proud of myself. I think I did anyway. And she is a yoga instructor. She's been doing this for as long as I've been doing radio, which is a little over 20 years or more. And she's worked very hard to understand a lot of the concepts from the East, from the West, and also to help you live your life a little bit more easily. Even we were talking about your anger management and stuff. The only time I have anger management is when I'm driving and some knucklehead is doing something silly behind me.
I you know, under the science behind, sometimes that happens to me and these words fly out of my mouth and I'm like, who was that? It's like my dad from the 1970s. I didn't know those tapes are still playing, but they are. It's interesting. But I want to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
If you'll let me. I want to tell you something, some exciting news.
Oh, please.
Yeah. So I'll tie the two together. So we talk about things you can do, and we talk about people who might not feel that they have the means to do that and things. And I don't think we've ever talked about this before, but it's so important. And the thing is, you can logically or in your mind or have a feeling about something and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I fixed that because here, I'm going to put that in this container and now that part of my life is fine. Yeah, I think that happened to me and okay, it's fine now. Okay? As this, that will replay in your mind. If you're doing that and think that you're over something that happened in your life, I'm going to say that's going to ruminate in your mind. It's going to come back again. Why? Because there's no outlet for the experience. And I really think that I am where I am because everything that I went through, every lesson that I learned when I did spiritual retreats at 17, I used to check myself into silent retreats. All my studies, Reiki, yoga, everything, psychology, feng shui, blah, there's so many. I wrote everything down. If I learned a lesson or had an insight, I wrote it down. My poetry I've been channeling since 7. I would hear the words and write it down. If I didn't get my book of poetry, no matter how dark the stain, out, it was like a clogged brain. I could feel it. It was sitting here. You have to, when you learn a lesson, when you understand why you were hit, when you understand why the breakup happened, when you understand about the divorce, please write it down on any piece of paper that's around you. Write it down. It has to come out of your mind. You have to be able to see it on paper. It's like turning a light on and it won't come back to haunt you. If it's just in your mind and you're like, yeah, we did this, I understand my divorce is because of this, it'll replay in your mind. And so with my news that I have to share, I just put out on my birthday was July 7th, and I love just the vibration of the 7-7. And so I published a journal on Amazon just by myself because of this, because this is so important. And it's called Shining Light on Darkness, a journal invoking rising to full loving potential. Because I don't think I would be here and full of this much love if I didn't write everything down. And the journal's blank, but it is shining light on darkness to write down your insights. If you're taking a course, some friends are taking a yoga class, a meditation class, a woman's healing circle. Guys might be going through divorce, but you're learning things. You're understanding things in a new way. But if it's not written down on paper, it'll come back and replay. And then you're at risk of those old samskaras, those old scars playing and taking over. Why? Because we're creatures of habit. You have to put things down on journals. Every book I wrote is all pages and pages of journals. There's just above me on the shelf is about 92 cute little journals full of writing. And I wouldn't be sitting here having these conversations or know what I know if that process didn't happen.
Well, that's outstanding. So when did the book get published and is it available now?
It's available now. It's on Amazon under Andrea L. Wehlann, Wehlann. And it's a journal. The first page I love. It says this journal belongs to, because those are my favorite ones that I have. I always wrote my name in the front. And there's 250 blank pages, which is Shining Light on Darkness. It's a journal. And it invokes rising to full loving potential. When you're doing spiritual work, when you're doing any work, even if you're at your job and these insights come to you, if you don't write them down, where do they go?
Nowhere.
You have to do this, especially if you've experienced trauma, divorce, child loss, miscarriages. Write down the things that have happened to you. You don't have to say anything brilliant, but write down, I had a miscarriage. I just got divorced. It feels crappy. What happens then? You see it on paper, and it's not so scary as what's in your mind. It's like, oh, divorce in your mind can mean so many things. Divorce, when you write it down, you can see it with your eyes. And your mind can't serve two masters. Where there's light, there can't be darkness. And this process has been everything to me. Writing things down has been absolutely everything to me. I still do it to this day.
And in some cases, it might actually become a book.
It is a book. There's a book inside all of us. And then you give that to your kids. Yeah. And you become more loving. What else could we become? We are love. What else could you become? Shining light on darkness, a journal invoking rising to full loving nature potential. That's who we are.
Congratulations. When did you come up with the idea of putting this out there?
A long time ago. It was always a dream. No matter how dark the stain came out, once all my words were out, like I said, it was like an energetic clog for me. I had to have the words out. And then it was reading when you read a poem, it sparks something in you. And I write those things down. And so I wanted a space for other people to write things down. So Deeper Days, my second book, is a self-inquiry book, the one that we talked about, Inner Calm Amidst Chaos. It's self-inquiry book. So you ask yourself a question every day, and then you have the practice of the art of concentration. Really, really easy. But when you ask yourself, every thought you have is based on your perception, your angle of how you see the world. Okay, you think about that. There's an answer. Write that down on paper. You need a spot for that. Write that down. Why? Because there's more. There's no holes in the ocean. There's no empty spot in the sky. So there's more inside us as well, right? Losing that duality, losing that idea that we're separate from things. This is one way to be in touch with that.
And another good...
amazing.
Indeed. Another thing to do would be, if you write something down and it looks like it's very hurtful and hateful and not who you would like to be, you might want to go see a coach or a therapist or somebody that can help you understand why you're still holding on to some of the things you're holding on to and why you're feeling the way that you are. Is that appropriate advice?
I think you have the power within you to put that in one column, because that's love too. Hating something is also how you learn to love. It's part of who we are. So what I did was I wrote down, I'm fat, I'm stupid, I'm ugly. I wrote all those thoughts that I was having in one column. And on the other side, I wrote, I'm a child of God. My parents both love me. I am this, I'm that. I wrote the other side. So I had two columns for a lot of years, because I had both playing back and forth before I could really understand what was what.
So did you come to the conclusion and the determination that when you were saying some of these things, I'm stupid, I'm fat, I'm ugly, that they were inherently not true? Do you understand that they were a bald-faced lie of some story that some kid had told you or somebody had told you, and it just wasn't true? And did you have to let it go?
I think there's nothing to let go of. I think I understand where it comes from and why it's there, and I see it for what it is, and then I choose what seed I'm watering, because I also know the other side. I've also challenged every fear. I climbed the mountaintops of Brazil just because I was scared to walk down the street alone. So I went to Brazil to train jiu-jitsu. I also have the other side. And so now when those thoughts, those feelings arise, I have something else to balance it with. It's like alchemy. And so I call my mind sometimes like the greatest dance floor. And not my mind, but I think we all have within our minds a great dance floor where we can learn to go back and forth. I mean, I buried my child. Is he gone? Where? It's love. The one thing I learned doing palliative care for 15 years is that love is stronger than death, right? So I try and lose lately, more specifically, where I make that duality. I think that's a trick of the ego mind, to have an opposite, to have something separate, I think is what the ego does to make an I. So I practice, and I'm not perfect at it, trying to smooth that out a little bit.
Now, from my perspective, I've lost my dad. I've lost my dad. I've lost my mom. I've lost my brother.
Mhm.
But they're all here. They're all still with me in one way or another, and they all are part of the mission that I'm continuing to go forward with. So even though they are physically not in human body anymore, in my perspective, they're still here and a vibrant part of my life. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's how I feel. I have 7 miscarriages and a lot of loss in my life. And I think that's the reason that my love is so grand, because I've experienced loss. And I think that the other side is a great love.
I couldn't agree more. And by the way, we're talking with Andrea Wehlann. Go to her website, which is
GangaMoonYoga.square site.
There are 3 books I want you to pick up, and they are
Deeper Days, 365 Yoga
That's right.
Inspirations
There are 4 books.
for inner calm amidst chaos. There is No Matter How Dark the Stain, Poems and Inspiration for Any Woman in Pain, and Stillness in the Storm, a conscious daily journal of yoga and spiritual healing. And the newest one, just for you, is Shining Light on Darkness, a journal invoking rising to full, loving nature potential. You are
And
loved.
I love all 4 of them, and I think that they're great. And just in case you are listening to this and you're saying, yeah, but I don't see the perspective, and I don't know what the perspective might be of something other than my direct experiences, the video that we're about to play you might give you a completely different viewpoint of where you are now and where we all are now. And this was produced by my company, KM Media. It's brand new. It was put together today. It really is quite good. And even Andrea liked it. So if Andrea likes it, by gum, everybody should love it. Is there anything you want to say about it before we begin playing it?
Oh, I don't want to wreck anything. I just want to say, if you've traveled, you will understand this video. If you have found peace in yoga or meditation, stillness practice, you will understand this video. And it brings both of those amazing elements together to really expand the mind and the heart. So I hope you fall in love with your life and who you are.
Exactly, because there's nobody else. And this is a wonderful moment in time to play this video, and I hope everybody listens to it and watches it. It really, I'm very, very proud of the work that my team has done. So with that, we haven't even named it quite yet, but that's how new it is. So here we go. My name is Kevin McDonald, host of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where I invite you to listen to Positive Talk in all of its forms: YouTube, Facebook, podcasts, and on the Brushwood Media Network. The mission of this show is to help people understand that we are all one people living together on this little speck in space. I realize that it's a foreign concept to many, those who value nationalism to their place of origin or the group of people they belong to. But I would like you to consider, just for a moment, that we have it all wrong. What do I mean, you ask, and how do I know? Well, I'm sure that you know experience is the best teacher, because as we work through these personal moments in time, the results can be and often are life-changing. Some of these life-changing experiences could be everyday moments or major events like near-death experiences, divorce, death of a loved one, and the list goes on. But today I want to point out a common experience had by many, not here on Earth, but in the expanse of space. You see, Over the last 55 years or so, the world has sent many humans into space, either going to the moon or circling the Earth. Many of these individuals have returned with an experience so common, it has been given a name: the overview effect. The overview effect is a cognitive shift that affects some astronauts when they see the Earth from space. Many say they no longer identify with a specific nationality or culture after seeing the Earth from outer space. Instead, they see themselves and all citizens on Earth as one people, living on one world. Edgar Mitchell, the sixth man on the moon, said, "From space, astronauts cannot see the physical borderlines or national boundaries. All evidence of division and separateness vanishes. The conflicts that divide countries, cultures, and people become less important, and the need to create a peaceful, united planetary society which works together to protect this pale blue dot becomes critical. There's a startling recognition that the nature of the universe is not what we have been taught. I not only saw the connectedness of it, I felt it. I was overwhelmed with the sensation of physically and mentally extending out into the cosmos. I realized that this was a biological response of my brain attempting to reorganize and give meaning to the information about the wonderful and awesomeness process that I was privileged to view." It is quite common for astronauts who experience the overview effect to engage in global philanthropic works after their return to Earth. Astronaut Ron Garan, a NASA astronaut who traveled to space on the Space Shuttle Discovery in 2008 and has spent over 128 days in space, felt the overview effect on his third spacewalk and started a philanthropic group called the Fragile Oasis for astronauts who've experienced similar philosophical shifts. Garan wrote a book about his experiences with the overview effect entitled Orbital Perspective, and teamed up with filmmaker Guy Reed to make a documentary called Planetary, which investigates the phenomenon of the overview effect from the perspective of scientists, ecologists, philosophers, and Buddhist monks, who all share a common belief: the Earth is one world, and we are one people. Joanne Macy, a philosopher and ecologist featured in Planetary, says that we don't have to go to space to experience the overview effect. We don't have to be an astronaut. You can feel it just by closely studying the image of Earth from space. When studying images of Earth, you're struck with such gladness at the beauty and originality of it that you don't have time to think about how it's going to turn out. All you know is you'll serve it to the best of your ability to the last breath. Joanne Macy, philosopher and ecologist. In fact, one of the most striking observations they make is just how frail our home is. The atmosphere appears so thin and vulnerable, which, as you know, allows us to live and breathe here. It must be protected. They also, to a person, are in awe of the universe, the stars, and the sheer majesty of it all. So as we continue to wander around our home making false choices and discounting reality, I know, and I hope that you will agree, that this is a time to fundamentally change our view of life and our time here from one of separateness, hate, division, and fear to one of acceptance, love, and kindness, taking care of each other and our home, the planet Earth, and everything and everyone contained within. Bless to you all. And that is a brand new video that we've just put out. I love it. It was really cool to be able to be part of that process. And I know Andrea thinks it's pretty cool too.
Yeah, that's amazing. I can't wait to see the feedback you get from that. And thank you for having me part of this special moment.
Well, this show and your participation in it was preordained to happen exactly how it happened. That's how my life works these days.
Me too. Thank you. I feel the same way.
And it's great fun to have you here. And what I'd like you to do is to tell everybody how they can get more of you and to work with you on a whole bunch of different levels.
Yeah, if anybody's in Canada, I am at the store in Burlington, Ontario, Indigo on Brant Street this Saturday from 11 to 3. So you can come and meet me, say hi, and have your book signed if you have one. If you don't have a book in hand and you're in the States, you can order them from Barnes & Noble. They're at Barnes & Noble Woodland Park in New Jersey. Anywhere online, your favorite bookstore has it. Even in the UK, people are buying my book of poetry. Amazon has all books. So just look up under my name. Anywhere you punch in Ganga Moon Yoga should bring me up. And my last name is tricky to spell. It sounds like whale in the ocean, but it's Wehlann. So I hope you find me anywhere, Messenger, Facebook, Instagram. Please reach out, say hi. Let me know what resonates for you, what you'd like to hear more of. If I can help you deepen your practice, I'd love to do that.
And your practice doing a bunch of things, including Reiki.
I am a Reiki master. So if you're looking for certification, just to bring some more light into the world, please reach out, send me a message, and we'll work together. If you need coaching, if you need help in any way, yoga, meditation trainings, corporate yoga, corporate wellness, send me a message. Even events. Next Thursday, I'm teaching yoga on the beach, summer yoga on the beach in St. Catharines, Ontario. And everybody is welcome, including you, Kevin McDonald. And yeah, should be great.
Yeah, no, I'll be running right over there. I can't.
Ken.
Well, maybe.
Can't is not a word.
I know. That's a word that we can get rid of, as well as never, or need, or should, or as one person said, we keep shooting all over ourselves, which the SEC guys go, did they say what I think they said? And
it's hilarious.
So, but we do that, and I get to meet some of the most incredible people, and you are one of them, and I really appreciate you coming back on the show more than once, because each show, as you know, each show is completely different, and we touch on something that we haven't touched on before.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stones to unturn in the human mind, and trying to be a better person. There's a lot of stones to unturn, but just you just keep going and keep at it. If you're breathing and conscious of your breath, that's one step in the right direction, because you have to think about all the people that can't find their breath and that don't have that, like there's nothing bigger than the little things, really.
And it really is important to be able to breathe, because without breathing, you probably aren't,
Sometimes when I have a room full of yoga people in a really pose where they're balanced on one leg, I'll say, if you stop breathing, you will die. And usually the room breaks out in laughter, which is what my yoga teacher, Michael Stone, used to do to us. And it's really, we can get stuck in our minds really, really easy, just like that. But it's also equally important to come back out and to find humor in things.
I want to thank you so much for being here. You're going to have to come back again. We got more to talk about. And Andrea Wehlann has been our guest. Go to
Ganga Moon Yoga Square Site.com.
There you go. I wasn't sure if it was .ca or .com, but it's .com. So again, thank you for being here. It's great fun having you, and the show, it does very well when you're on it. So I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Thanks for being you. Thank you.
I have no choice at this point in time. I tried being somebody else, and they said, "Who are you?" And it didn't work out well. So in any event, thank you, Andrea. And thank everybody, and I hope you enjoyed the video. That video will be out more and more and more, so I hope you'll run across it again sometime. So thank you so much. Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another because each other's